How are you doing? Good? You good?
Yeah.
Okay. Thanks so much for coming in and for taking the time out tonight to be with us. My name is Keiko. I'll be your MC for the night. I'm one of the co-founders of Social Innovation in Japan. Just out of curiosity, how many people has come to an event before? I've seen some familiar faces, but maybe by show of hands. Oh, so
You can just close it.
Thank you so much for coming. Those of you who have
You're
been
going to
with us
use the
before and for the
TV?
new faces, I hope you enjoyed tonight's
The
event.
plugin
It's
is
the
in
first
my
time
computer.
that we're doing a free event, and it's our second event at Code Chrysalis. And we're really, really excited about this topic and to be hosting Sara, who's come in from Gaza. So just before we get started, I'd like to say a few words of thanks to Code Chrysalis. We actually organized this event exactly 6 days ago. This has been a 6-day, like the shortest event that we've ever organized with such short notice. The reason being is that the visa process for getting Sara from Gaza to Japan was almost a 6-month process. It was thanks to an engineer, Joel, if you're listening, who's based in Tel Aviv, who met Sara in Gaza and got in touch with me based in Tokyo office. We both work at Google. And we thought her story, it has been her dream to come to Japan. So I think it's a huge moment for her, and it's an honor for us to be hosting her. So maybe just a big round of applause to Connie. I'd like to say a massive, massive thank you to Ali, who's sitting in the front. He's very embarrassed right now. But he also made it possible for the visa to come through. So big thank you to you, Ali. So without further ado, I'll pass it over to Connie, who's the CEO and co-founder of Code Chrysalis, to talk a little bit about what they do here. So Connie, give us a chance.
Thank you. Better known as the janitor at Code Chrysalis. I do all the cleanup. I don't want to take too much of your time. It's fantastic talk. So I'll just say a few things about Code Chrysalis and then just vanish the back. So Code Chrysalis is a advanced software engineering bootcamp. And by bootcamp we mean it's 3 months, Monday through Friday, 9 to 6. It's pretty intense. We don't call it a bootcamp as a marketing tactic. It is intense. We welcome beginners, but beginners, how do I say this? Beginners are welcome, but we don't take beginners. Beginners have to do some work on their own before they can come into the program. There's enough collateral, there's enough great material out there for free to learn how to code. So we want people to have some initiative, some interest, and kind of show us that they are also interested, and we meet them halfway. Our missions, so we have three, I'm going to use this here if you don't mind. 3 main missions in Japan. One is to create software engineering leaders, and Yan, our CTO, she was very active in the US too, in promoting more women in tech. Then we came to Japan and we realized how big that gap is. Like, there's hardly few engineers out there. We say we know them all. So Yan definitely made a mission, and we've kind of made our social impact mission to get more women into the tech industry here. And of course build community. We do a lot of meetups. We want to create this environment where we can talk about not just engineering topics but many other things. So that's make our lives easy, but we believe that the lingua franca of tech is English, and if you want to be an engineer in Japan that writes applications and does things for a global audience, you really want to be able to consume technology, the documentation firsthand in English, and then use it. So for this reason, it's a bad business reason actually. We have very few students who meet our criteria, but we want them to be able to pass our class with English communication skills as well. So we created two programs supported the English communication intensive program and a program for foundations. So that's a little bit about us. If you guys have any other questions, I'll be around till the end. So feel free to come and ask me any questions. But otherwise, make yourself at home. You guys know where the restrooms and everything are. Just straight down and to the right. And there's also water theme if you're thirsty. So please make yourself at home. And thank you for again coming and doing this. Yeah.
So sorry, I had so much adrenaline now, so excited I was about to get a little bit of the housekeeping. So there's a bathroom right at the back. This is a non-smoking building, so please go upstairs. And aside from that, I think unfortunately we don't have any refreshments, but you're free to bring your own drinks. There's a family mat upstairs, so feel free to go up and come back down during the networking time. We'll go on to listen to Mariko, who's the other co-founder of Social Innovation Japan, just to give you an idea of who we are, what we do, why we started this platform and this community. And then we'll go straight into Sarah's talk, and then we'll have some time for Q&A at the end. Okay, so I'm going to pass it over to Mariko, if you'd like to give a warm welcome.
Here we go. Yes. I nearly killed myself over that. Very blind standing. So as Keiko said, we have Social Innovation Japan. I think sounds like many of you have been to our events already. Just to give you a very brief outline of what we do and why we're doing it. When a couple of years ago we felt that there really wasn't a together and connect on things that really mattered to us, things that were really affecting our futures. And so really out of self-interest, we just said, so why don't we create that space? And so for the last 16 months or so, we've been bringing together people who have really interesting things to say, who have just something positive to say. You know, one of the reasons we started out was when you look at the news today, it's really quite depressing. You can spend a lot of time just getting bogged down in what's going on, but actually there are a lot of people around who are doing wonderful things too. So we wanted to be able to give a platform to those people, share those positive stories, and to get a little bit of inspiration ourselves too. The second thing we wanted to achieve was to mainstream social good. So particularly in Japan, I think it's very easy to feel like the role of government is to do things that are good for society, but actually it is. We want people to feel like they have the power to make decisions every day in terms of what they do, or who they work for, or the little actions, the things they buy every day. And we wanted to make it more common for people to be able to have these conversations and take those actions themselves. And the last thing was, it's not very fun if you're just doing that by yourself. So we wanted to bring people together, people who are interested in the same kind of subject, people who wanted to learn from each other, people who you want to spend your time with, and you want to inspire each other. So giving a space where people can connect, and we really hope that by the end of tonight you'll go home and you'll have met 3 or 4 new people that you'll consider meeting up another time with and making new connections. So that's what we do. You can check us up on Facebook. We use the hashtag Social Innovation Japan. We'd love to see you at future events or to get involved. If there's something that you're really passionate about and want to get involved in, please do come see me or Keiko at the end of the event, and we will be more than happy to do it. That's it from me and Jake. Thank you.
Thanks so much, Claude. So we also have a third co-founder who's in Thailand, probably watching this live stream right now. So hello, Robin. And just before this event, we actually hosted a pretty big one with over 150 people from different sectors, looking at the impact of blockchain technology in achieving the Sustainable Development Goals. So this theme of looking at how we can use tech for good is something that we're really passionate about. It's something that we see reflected in Code Chrysalis, and it's something that we know Japan has a huge, huge potential to leverage as a country that has, I think, the 2nd or 3rd highest number of patents in the world. So there's a massive amount of innovation happening in this country. How can we share that with other countries, and vice versa? How can we learn from amazing things that are happening abroad? And Gaza is a country, an area that we found fascinating because we take for granted a lot of the things around accessibility and mobility. And so we're really, really honored to be welcoming Sara, who's a huge champion of social and economic mobility for youth and also for young women. I'm really excited to listen to her talk. So let's give her a warm welcome, guys.
Hello, it's such an honor to be here today. It took so long and so much effort from so many people, but I'm really happy that I actually made it. And I would like to thank you for being here tonight. So my name is Sara Alafifi and I work at Gaza Sky Geeks. My job is Manager of Communications and Mentorship Program. Gaza Sky Geeks is actually the first, Gaza Sky Geeks is actually the first tech hub in Gaza and also the first accelerator, the leading tech hub and accelerator now. We can be under one roof, Code Academy, similar to what Code Process is doing. We also have an accelerator for startups and we also have a freelance program. The whole point of Gaza Sky Geeks is to give opportunities and chances to people who have ideas, who have business and who have potential to reach all the blocks that I have present in Gaza. So that's our mission, to empower Palestinians with all the resources and opportunities to take their businesses and create income as well. So I do have one question for you guys. How many of you have heard of Gaza before hearing about this event? Can I just see? Okay, great. So everyone knows. I'm happy. Sometimes people don't really know what Gaza is, where Gaza is, and when they hear Palestine, they'll be like Pakistan. So I'm really happy. So just to give you an idea, Gaza, when people think of Gaza, I will be during this presentation, I will be talking about Gaza Sky Geeks, what we're doing, and also I'll give it just an idea about Gaza, and then all the ways that you guys can support if you're interested. So when people think of Gaza, they would probably think of this, something like this, storms, rockets, or sometimes exports that think of something similar to here. These pictures have been from recent events, and when there aren't any of those negative things happening, this is the reality of Gaza. It's a place where young people are very restricted in everything, in access to opportunities, and access to travel, and they're just they're not getting the full potential because of many reasons. But this is not what I'm here to talk about. I would like to talk more about positive things, and I would just start by giving you an idea of where Gaza is and how many people are. So Gaza is just a strip of land with different cities in the south, to the west of Palestine, and it is only 365 kilometers. That is 16% of how big Tokyo is, and we have 2 million people. Actually, more than 2 million people. The baby number 2 million came last year. So we have 2 million people in Gaza, and in this piece of land in Tokyo, we have 30 million people. So we would only get around 6,000, in comparison to the space, but we have 2 million people and only 16% in that land. So a lot of people. And this picture here is something that would really describe what Gaza is like. So much potential, so many people who have so much knowledge, and they have things that they can share, things that they can build, but they are not able to do that because of many restrictions. And this is exactly what happened. There are probably lots of things to Gaza, that there have been 3 wars since 2017. With some of the things that people take for granted and we don't really have in Gaza is electricity. So in Gaza, we don't really get more than 4 hours of electricity every 12 hours of not having it. This has changed recently, actually. We are getting, since I left Gaza, I heard that they're getting 12 hours of electricity, so that I'm happy that this actually happened. And water in Gaza has been declared to be undrinkable. Unfortunately, we have so much pollution, and we don't have the resources and potential the opportunity to clean water. And we don't have much of sewage treatment. Actually, sewage is directly bumped into the sea. And 80% of the Gaza population are actually dependent on aid, so international aid that comes from outside. And we also have a very, very high rate of unemployment. 70% of the graduates, mostly female, are unemployed in Gaza. And we have restrictions on imports and exports, which makes starting a business that depends on having actual products and having hardware is very, very difficult in Gaza. And we also have limitations on fishing. So Gaza is on the sea. So it's like a port, and people can depend and make a lot of money from fishing. But we have a lot of restrictions that we're not able to go deep in there where there's actually fish, and so that's also not an option. We are under blockade. Being under blockade means that you can't travel freely, you can't get goods inside, you can't really get your stuff even outside. And we don't have an airport. A lot of people ask me, so how do you come? Did you fly from Gaza? I'm like, no, I have to go to another country to fly. And one more thing, we don't really have 3G. We're still using 2G in Gaza. But these are like the bad things. So let's just talk about the good stuff. So this is like a picture of our office when we don't have electricity, which happens like quite a lot. But what's good about this is that Gaza is hardwired. We have fiber internet. So as long as you have electricity, which is not something that we have, but we have come up with things to overcome that. A lot of people, like almost every house or almost every business in Gaza, they have a small system that they have created for generating electricity using a battery. That could be a car's battery. So as long as you have a laptop, you have your internet, and you have a way to get electricity, then you're good. You can have your business. You can do work. And that's what we are working on. This is why Gaza Sky Geeks was started. So Gaza Sky Geeks, we're making use of the internet that we have. We're making use of the fact that every place you go to in Gaza, we have Wi-Fi. Which actually, when I go outside, I find it really difficult to get connected on Wi-Fi because everyone's using their 3G. We don't have that, so we have Wi-Fi everywhere. And we have a lot of people using smartphones. Almost every household, every person has a smartphone. And we have a really high rate of education. People in Gaza are highly educated. We don't stop at getting a bachelor's degree. Everyone gets a master's degree. And a lot of people also get a PhD. So we have highly educated people, and we are one of the places where we don't really have a lot of illiteracy. And we also are competitive because getting a developer to work on a project for you, they will only take around $1,000 per month, which is very competitive. Because we have a lot of people educated, we have a lot of developers, and that makes us, and also the cost of living in Gaza is not that high. So that makes it also competitive in the international market. Gaza Sky Geeks was actually started in a joint partnership between Mercy Corps. Mercy Corps is a humanitarian organization that does a lot of work in so many different places of the world. And so the CEO of Mercy Corps met up with a person from Google for Entrepreneurs who came to the region because they wanted to start a business. They wanted to get into the region, and they met together and they were like, okay, let's look at Gaza as a potential market, and this is how we came to it. This is how Gaza Sky Geeks came to exist. So in Gaza Sky Geeks, we have three main verticals, which are the three main programs that we work on. We have a code academy, we have also a freelancing academy, and we have a startup acceleration program. And I'm going to talk more about those. And we have also a co-working space. So the whole idea, having all those talented people, having all that education and all those opportunities, the thing that we lack is a space where all those people can meet together, can be there, and can share ideas and work. So this is what we have created. We have convened all those people in this one place where they can feel safe and encouraged to share and work together and create opportunities for the ideas that they might bounce off each other. So that's what a community is: safe, inclusive, and vibrant. Inclusive because we do a lot of work to make sure that women feel empowered enough to be in our space and do all the things that they can do. And I will talk even more about that later on. So Gaza Sky Geeks is completely community driven. Even the space, when we created our space, we didn't outsource a designer to come and create the space, or we actually brought people from our own community. And we were like, we have this space, can you please help us? And we also we have this big empty wall, can you help us design it? So in our office, you can see that all the walls are covered in very beautiful drawings and graffiti, and they're all done by community members. We did all of that because we are putting a lot of emphasis on volunteering and giving back. We want the people to feel that they own the space, and we want them to have this sense of ownership of Gaza Sky Geeks, of this co-working space, of this place. And we have managed to create that, and so we're really happy about the community that we have built. So to overcome some of the problems for the electricity, we have a dedicated generator, which we actually got through like a very big crowdfunding campaign we ran back in 2016, and we were able to manage to get the generator and to get fuel for it. So our office is able to be open with full electricity, with access to electricity all the time, for 12 hours a day, 6 days a week. We will even work on Saturdays. So that also made it possible for those who don't really have access to that. And we also have a fiber internet line. So anyone, even if they were not part of our programs, they can come to the space and make use of that, which is the internet. And we have more than 100 daily users of our space. Our space is 800 square meters. And in that 800 square meters, there's the co-working area, and there's also the rooms that we use for the different programs. We run daily workshops because, as I said, we really rely on creative accountability. And this is why we have run workshops every day for different topics. They could be around programming, it could be about freelancing, and we also could be about somebody who has an inspiring story about how they became who they are, how they got to where they are, whether they're like being startup founders, programmers, freelancers. They can all come and use this space, and it's all free of charge. And we have something that we call the hottest rental room. So if anyone who is interested in renting one of our rooms to work in there. And why are people interested in renting one of the rooms? Because in Gaza Sky Geeks you can meet all the people that you need to meet. So this is the Gaza Sky Geeks in general. So the first program, the core program, is the Code Academy. It's a 6 months full-time training for we take in people who are not exactly beginners. They might have some background in programming. They might have even graduated from university from like IT majors, but they want to learn about the programming languages that are more present in more requested in the market. So they come to our program, and we have for that we depend mostly on self-learning. So we encourage people to do the work themselves. We have instructors, and they help them out, but they want them to do the work themselves. And we do a lot of design thinking, and we do a lot of agile for that. For every cohort, we get 60 students and 1 facilitator. And we also have 8 volunteer mentors. What's special about those 8 volunteer mentors is that they are the ones who graduated from the previous cohort. So people who have graduated from cohort number 1 have mentored cohort number 2. And that's we train those people, and yeah, I should tell you why we actually started the Code Academy. So the first program of Gaza Sky Geeks was the Startup Academy, the acceleration program. We brought in people who have business ideas, and those business ideas can penetrate different markets. But as they were doing that, we found out that there's a very huge gap in the demand that those people, business people, needed developers who can help them build their products. And so we found that marketing Gaza is really lacking in that area. A lot of people do graduate from university in that major, but they are not really ready to go into the market. And this is why we created the Code Academy. So it feeds into the different program of Gaza Sky Geeks. So those students who go into the Code Academy, they are going to this program of 6 months. That program is done in 2 parts. The first part is all about learning. We have a curriculum that's JavaScript based. And then once they're done with the curriculum, with the self-learning part, and also the mentors help and facilitators help, we do the second part, which is all about dealing with clients. We call it the community accelerator. In this community accelerator, we actually bring our students and we connect them with local businesses, local organizations that could be NGOs or whatever kind of business in Gaza. And we bring the students to them and introduce them. And we say, this person here can help you come up with a tech solution to whatever problem you are facing. And this has been very successful. We have had clients from Oxfam, from UNTV, Gaza Sky Geeks was a client. I was a client twice. And the point of that is to get the students to know what it means to deal with a client. And that kind is done. But after we're done with that, after this community acceleration for the present clients, we also introduce them and we get them connected to online clients so they can have that experience as well. Because most of the people who graduate from the Code Academy, they move on to become freelancers. So they work online on different programs, or they can find full-time jobs for online clients. And this wouldn't have been possible without the great partnership that we created with the Coding Bootcamp in London for founders and followers. They have also a tuition fee called the Coding Bootcamp, and it's also alumni different, similar to how we do it. So the graduates from the London Bootcamp come to Gaza and help as the course facilitators for the 6-month program, and they change. So, as I said, the people who graduate, they teach the others, and they are also helping out with something that we call the Saturday Coding Club. And this Saturday Coding Club is for people who have zero knowledge, zero background in coding, but they are really interested and they would like to join the Code Academy. So we help them out every Saturday on the weekends. They come to the office, and we have the people who are students or graduates from the Code Academy. They help them learn and get to know the basics, so they are then ready to join the Code Academy's next cohort. What we do for inclusivity in this is that we reserve 50% of the seats for females, and we do a lot of meetups only for females to help them as they go through the different through different stages of the application for joining the Code Academy. And then what we really focus on is communication, because we know that in the world of freelancing, working online, there are so many people. There's a lot of competition. So many developers are from all over the world, and there's sometimes even So we know that communication is best. If you can handle that well, if you can be professional with the client, and then you can present your great job to them, then you can make it. So that is something that we really focus on. So we work a lot with our students on how to deal with the clients, what are the clients' needs, and how to have the clients actually know what they want. For the impact that we've created so far, we have graduated 5 cohorts with 53 graduates, and 100% of them are earning income now as either in online freelance programmers, or with full jobs with large access to contracts. Another thing that we do with the different programs is the Startup Academy, and we feel like by connecting the Code Academy graduates with the startup founders that we have, then there's also an opportunity for them to learn more about what it means to be in your own business. And we have managed to get a lot of the graduates from the Code Academy to start their own businesses, and they now are part of the acceleration program. And we feel like the impact of this is that we're giving them something that can self-express with, because coding is also a language. And when you are producing those products, then you are putting yourself out there, and you're putting that product out there, and you're getting feedback from the people, and you're getting them to work with you, then you are expressing yourself. And this has helped in so many ways for the students, for the graduates, to overcome whatever, negativity they are going with or dealing with on a daily basis. The second program we have is the Freelancing Academy. The Freelancing Academy is also done in a similar way. We get people who have different skills that could be in programming, that could be in designing, that could also be in translation. Those people who join the Freelancing Academy, it's done in 2 parts, the technical training. So if you have the skills but they are not good enough to, to compete in the market, then they go to technical training. We help them, improve those skills. If you do have the skills and they're great, then you join the Freelancing Academy, where we help the people know about the best ways to promote themselves online. We mainly help them through the platform Upwork, because we have some kind of partnership with them. And but we also help them learn how to promote themselves using like social media and other freelancing platforms. And we have around 70 people joining every cohort. And for every cohort, like we get 35 people, around 35 people graduate. We get 4 facilitators helping them out, and 15 volunteer mentors. Those volunteer mentors are also graduates from the program itself or from the different programs. So one thing that is like challenging, but also is getting taken for granted when it comes to freelancing in Gaza, is that we don't have a good way to facilitate online payments from, getting money inside and getting money outside. We don't have PayPal in Gaza, so that has made it really difficult for freelancers to get their payment for the online jobs that I have offered. But in order to overcome that, we have a lot of good companies that are helping us out, and they're like looking at Gaza as a potential new market, because it is a new market for some of them, and also to do it, to be fair. Some of those companies are Payoneer. They have been helping us a lot, and also Stripe. And Stripe is like more. Do you know Stripe? It is for facilitating payments for businesses in India. For that, we do a lot of advocacy. We have run a campaign called PayPal for Palestine, trying to get the PayPal people to, start their PayPal in Gaza, because it's in Palestine in general. We didn't really manage to get them to do that, but we're still following with that effort. So if you're interested, you can also use the hashtag It's Still Active. So the impact of the Freelancing Academy. The graduates from the Freelancing Academy have accumulated over $300,000 since we started the Academy back in August 2017. And we know that we're going to have a virtual freelancing coaching system, which we've already done. Because all of the learning that we have done through our partnership with Upwork is not just kept into Gaza. We have actually trained and coached Syrian refugees in other countries on freelancing with that knowledge. And this is something that we're aiming at doing in a structured way with the virtual freelancing coaching across the MENA region. And the last program we have is the Startup Academy. So for the Startup Academy, we have a program that we call the Accelerator. And it has been run back since we have started in we started in 2011, but then the program itself started around the start of 2013. And as we went through, we have learned so much, and we have improved the program as we went. Right now, the program is called the Accelerator, and it is done in 16 weeks, in 4 months. And the program started with a hackathon. That was the entry point to the program. We got around, for the last cohort, we got around 40 startup ideas coming into the program. 32 of them got selected, but then that's a huge number of startups to be supporting. But we do have a strict filtering process, and there were a set of criteria, a set of deliverables that every team had to present in order to move on to every next phase of the program, which has proved itself to be very successful, because this way we managed to get only the people who are fully dedicated, who really want to make it work, to stay in the program. And we wouldn't have been able to do that without the help of our mentors. The program is almost mainly dependent on the help and support of mentors. Those mentors could be international or local. They can be helping us online or even in person. And I will talk more about that later on. This is actually my job. So for that, to help with that as well, and also to have the community, we have partnered with Angel Hack. Do you guys know Angel Hack? They run a series of hackathons all around the world to bring together the best people to come up with startups ideas, and the ones who are selected, they go into a program of acceleration for them, and it is mainly done online. But the ones who succeed, they go to Silicon Valley to make it big. For the program that we have now, we have really taken a lot of inspiration from the Angel Hat program, and this is how the accelerator came to be. So as I said, the cohort starts. This is the number of startups that we've had in the past cohort. The startups that we have cover a very different, like a large field of different specialties. That it could be in fashion, it could be in like advice, it can be in like counseling and consulting, and also food. The only thing that we look at when we choose the startups that join our program is that they have an online presence. Because as I told you, being under blockade, it is really different to support, very difficult to support startups that are like mainly hardware. So for that, in order to overcome that and also to encourage people to look beyond the restrictions, we have chosen to support the startups that have online presence. So our startups, they have all the different fields, and they have their markets outside of Gaza, mainly in the GCC area. In Saudi Arabia, we have a lot of startups targeting that country, and also the United Arab Emirates. And those are the founders. Something great that we have accomplished with the Startup Academy. Noor, she is the founder of Mommy Helper. Mommy Helper is a platform that helps Arab women who live outside of their country, and also Arab women around the world, get the best advice and counseling from certified counselors on how to care for their children. Noor here, she won the last demo day that we have held for all the startups, and we have worked really hard with Stripe and Silicon Valley Bank to get your startup incorporated in Delaware, because that makes a lot of difference when it comes to getting investment and when it comes to processing money and online payments. And so Mommy Helper is a startup that is incorporated in Delaware with a Gazan founder that targets the Arab region outside. And she pitched her idea online to a number of investors in Dubai last year, and she managed to get an angel investor supporting her startup, and that was the first angel investment happening in Gaza. And we have managed to, through this idea, we have managed to get the first ever SAFE in Palestine. Do you know what SAFE is? SAFE is, let me get this right. So SAFE is like simple agreement for future equity. So this means that Noor got an investment. She couldn't promise to get profits immediately, but she can do that in the future, and that's what we call it SAFE. So Mommy Helper, a startup with a founder in Gaza, incorporated in Delaware, getting an angel investment from Dubai. And this is like only one example of the accomplishments that we have made last year, and we're really happy about her. So Noor actually went to Startup Istanbul last year, and she won second place, and that was the first time. She won second place over 100 startups from across the MENA region. And that was the first time that we have managed to get all of the startups in our incubation and acceleration program to attend international pitching events outside. And it was like a huge accomplishment for us and for the startups, because they have experienced firsthand how they do have the potential, and they're not less of any of the startups that exist outside of Gaza. And we had a similar accomplishment with another startup, Mock-Up. They are now going into their second investment, and they're looking into their goal is to exit within a few years. Mock-Up here is a platform for designers to come and work together and share their ideas. So as we said, we have facilitated, so for the impact of the Startup Academy, the Acceleration Program, we have facilitated over 600,000 into 13 different Gazan startups. That being with investments from VCs or the angel investment that we were talking about. And we have worked with 36 teams since 2014, and 12 of them are still working till the moment. And we have managed to see the ecosystem with new mentors. How? Because all those people who have become founders of their startups, and they have gone through the different experiences, whether that be going through the struggles of founding a startup in Gaza, or also going to those international events and meeting with international investors, meeting with other startups. They have accumulated all this knowledge, and they have come back to Gaza to give it back, to pay it forward, and help the new startups as they go through the similar steps. Right now, those are the 10 accelerated startups of Gaza. They are currently in Jordan. I have actually come out of Gaza with them, and we are doing a roadshow across different cities in the world looking for investment opportunities. We have already been to Startup Istanbul this year. We have been to Bahrain. They actually came back yesterday, and they're going to be in Sharjah. They're going to be in Cairo and in Berlin. So if you know anyone who's interested in meeting them while in those cities, let me know and I'll let you know the dates. And what we do, what the most important part, something that's really close to me, is all the work that we do for women inclusivity. So as I said, for women we do a lot of work because we really want them to be engaged. We really want them to have their full potential. And we are really proud that we have over 42% of representation of women, participation of women across the different programs of Gaza Sky Geeks. And we are one of the most inclusive tech communities in the world. So we start teaching coding to girls from age 10 in order for them to, as they get older, leave school, because the Code Academy program is like a full-time program. They need to be there for 8 hours a day, 5 days a week, 6 days a week. So we do that coding education for girls from age 10, and I also want you to know that women in general in Palestine, they always outperform in comparison to men. So we're really happy and really proud. But we do know that the women in Gaza, similar to a lot of countries in the Arab world, they need a lot of extra support because families traditionally want the women to get married, start a family. So we don't want them to lose their opportunities because of that. We used to employ a fully dedicated women inclusivity manager, so she can talk with the parents and get them involved, let them know that what's happening here, the work that their daughters are doing is something that could really help their future, and it's not necessarily going to hinder them getting married at some point of the way. But we learned a lot from that experience, and we found out that if the whole team is engaged in this, if everyone puts in the effort for the women in the different programs to feel safe and empowered, to feel engaged and to have their families understand that they're doing something great, that they're actually being someone, a lot more than just a housewife or just a mom. We knew this as we went through the program, and we don't have the fully dedicated officer for women inclusivity, but the whole team is involved. So this involvement means that we always try and make sure that we get to know all the women who are strong enough. So we bring them to our space and we have them talk to the other women to inspire them and motivate them. We have all the women from the different programs of Gaza Sky Geeks also do that. And we also try as much as possible to involve the parents, to involve the families. We have those public events where we invite them over, just to get to know Gaza Sky, because once they know that this is a place that's safe, there's nothing suspicious going on, then they are more confident about sending their women, their daughters to participate, daughters and wives, or whatever role they're playing in the family. And again, as I said, mentors, they are the backbone of all the different programs that we have in Gaza. So we bring in between 4 to 5 mentors into Gaza every month. Those international mentors come from all parts of the world, and they are working in very different fields. So there is this misconception about Gaza Sky Geeks. Everyone thinks that they need to be an engineer in order to come and become a mentor at Gaza Sky Geeks, but actually no. If you're a business person, if you're excelling in whatever field you're working at, you can come and mentor at Gaza Sky Geeks, because we've run different programs and all these skills are needed. So the online learning, you can always access online courses and you can learn whatever that is that you need, but it is not enough. You really need to have this, face-to-face interaction. You need to know that this person sitting in front of you has gone through a similar experience, and they have found out the solution, and they will help you get to that point where you're also going to find out that solution. And this is why we're really relying a lot on the mentors and the support of those mentors. And also those people, when they come in, as I said, people cannot come out of Gaza, so it's easier to also bring people inside Gaza. So those people, aside from being impressed with the potential and with the place itself, and everyone almost says, oh, this could be anywhere around the world, like you can never imagine that this place exists in Gaza and this potentially exists in Gaza. Aside from that, they also introduced the people of Gaza Sky Geeks, the community members of Gaza Sky Geeks, to what it means to be a professional person working in a place that's outside. So this kind of communication is what motivates us to keep on working on bringing people inside. As I said, so we bring between 4 to 5 mentors every month into Gaza, and sometimes we get a lot of people and we get them in a party, like in a bus, and give them on tours like around Gaza. This is a picture of one of the mentors. This is actually the passageway along the border of Gaza. It's like a 1 kilometer that you have to walk. Now they do have like small golf carts that you can ride through the border. But you can also skate if you cross the border. So if you're interested in becoming a Gaza Sky Geeks mentor, then you can go online on our website and search for Become a Mentor. This way there's an application that you fill in. It asks you like about the skills that you have to offer, what kind of workshops that you would like to run, and why you would like to interfere. And we also have different options that you can choose from. Recently, we are going to release a new option for people if they cannot come into Gaza to mentor our community in the West Bank, because we have recently started a new community in the West Bank. We have started freelancing academies, freelancing activities in the West Bank, and our Code Academy in the West Bank was launched end of last month. So that's amazing for us. It is done in Hebron. Do you know the West Bank? It's the other part of Palestine. But it's across the border, so we cannot go there, we cannot come in. So we found out that the impact that we've done in Gaza was so great, it's even others. We have been getting a lot of people communicating, talking to us over social media that, when are you coming to the West Bank? It took a lot of work, but we managed to get there. And now we have this new community that we're building. And soon, as soon as I'm back, I will be releasing the West Bank part of mentoring. And this is the different programs. Something that is really interesting for us, and you can also help with, is the digital outsourcing agency that we have just started in Gaza Sky Geeks. So the digital outsourcing agency, it enables anyone to outsource developers from Gaza to help them with the different whatever project they are having. So our developers are very skilled. They go through a very lengthy and intensive 16 weeks of training, and they also are supported by a British employee of Gaza Sky Geeks who supervises the project that they go through it. And that's not just for programmers. It could also be a freelancer from the freelancing academy. So if you need a translator, if you need a designer, if you need a programmer, they can all be found from Gaza Sky Geeks. And it's really interesting for you to look to view this as one of the options for your different projects that you have. Another way that we are helping our programmers to develop their skills is that we are trying to get them to find internship opportunities in companies outside of Gaza. So this is something that we've been working on, where we have been successful with. We have got 2 of our developers to Berlin to work with Karim office, and they have just finished this 3 months internship program, and they came back last month. And we also got other developers to do internships in Jordan, and we're looking forward to getting more opportunities and know about other internship openings that could get one of our developers to go. So why would you want to hire a Gazan developer? Why would you outsource your project to a Gazan developer? So these are the prices like across for developers in the different areas. And this is the daily rate. So it's between 280 to 440 in Latin America, 200 to 560 Europe, and 144 or 336 in Asia per day per developer. Gazans only take between $30 to $150 per day. So the prices are really competitive. And that, like, you shouldn't feel bad about that, but as I said, cost of living in Gaza is not that high. And as I said, we do have like a lot of an opportunity for like cultural awareness, technical skills, and the service is done in English, so you don't need to worry about speaking Arabic. And we have had clients from different parts of the world. We have clients from the UK to Europe to the US, and we've got some great feedback from them. So if you are interested, this is all I have to talk about, guys. These are different programs, but if you're interested in helping out, so you can go to GazaSkyGeeks.com and find out more about what we do. You can hire one of our talents. You can become a mentor, and as I said, mentors can do mentoring online or in person. You don't need to free yourself for a week or two to come to Gaza, but you can also support a lot online. For the past cohort of acceleration, we had over 50 mentors supporting us between online and in-person mentorship. And you can also host Gaza interns in your company, or if you know of a company that could do that, you can also do the introductions. And you can follow us on social media to learn more. And if you know of investors who might be interested in taking the lead and going through this challenge of investing in a Gazan startup, then please do introduce us and share on social media so a lot more people know about us. And that's it. If you'd like to contact me, these are my social media handles. You can talk to me, or you can reach us at the website. So this is it for Gaza Sky Geeks. Thank you very much for listening, and I'm ready now for any questions.
Thank you so much, Sarah, for sharing your experience and your work. I literally met Sarah for the first time 2 days ago. No, yesterday.
Yesterday.
Yeah, it was yesterday. But we met over a random email, and it's amazing to see how technology has enabled us to connect in person as well as online. And just listening to your work, I think this is the first time for me as well, guys. And it's the first for social innovation Japan to host an international organization. Up until now, as a young organization, we've been focusing on innovation happening domestically. So it's also a huge honor for us once again. And to see the impact you're making and the synergy you're finding on an individual, organizational, and national level, and now across the region, is, I think, for a country like Japan, something that we can really learn from, especially in how community-driven it is. I just wanted to highlight as well one thing that I think really stuck out for me in highlighting the kind of human capital that Gaza has that we do not think about. Japan has, for the past 10 years, the highest labor shortage in the world. The highest. This year we've hit a peak in having the highest shortage of IT skills in the world. This is the world's third biggest economy, and here we are struggling with finding people. I work in HR at Google. It's a struggle. So to hear what you're doing here is a great kind of reminder to look at where we can find opportunities instead of focusing on problems. And I guess we'll open up for Q&A now, because I know you've probably got much more interesting questions than I do, but I wanted to ask, since this has been a dream of yours to come to Japan, and again, I think there's a lot that I've learned about what we can gain from looking at community-driven projects and businesses that focus on doing good. Because doing good is good business. I think that's something that many of us can relate to. But what's one thing that you would like to take away from Japan? What is your one ask when you come to Japan, whether it's in resources, connections, that you've kind of been hoping to find here? I'm not sure, but hopefully there might be some synergy in this room to help you connect towards that. But is there anything that you were hoping to kind of achieve on this trip?
Absolutely, yeah, of course. I mean, many things, but the most important business-related thing was, everyone knows that Japan is one of the most advanced countries in the world when it comes to IT, to tech, to technology. And for us to be doing all this work, and we don't really have any kind of connection to Japan. I hope that by being here and introducing Gaza Sky Geeks and introducing the work that we do, that maybe we will get that connection created. Maybe we get Japanese mentors to come in, or like people from Japan. We want to learn from the most advanced country how they're doing things. So maybe that could help us overcome some of the obstacles that we have. So I think, that would be one thing that I would really be happy if I could achieve. Like going back to Gaza and meeting with the team again, it was worth it.
Yeah, and I think this is the first time Gaza Sky Geeks is presenting in Asia as well. This is kind of your Did you?
Yes, well, kind of, yeah.
Okay, that's not bad. Okay. Okay, well, I'd like to open up to questions. If anybody would like to ask anything of Sarah about presentation of her work.
Yeah. Maybe try.
Maybe one question. On what technology are you focusing on? I feel like it's mostly Java now.
So the curriculum that we teach at the
Yeah,
Code
yeah.
Academy is mostly JavaScript based. We do also like some React and we do some Node.js. But we are now introducing our students to the different languages. So we have a lot of mentors coming in. Actually, when I came like the past 3 weeks, we've had different mentors introducing them to Ruby on Rails, introducing them to well, I'm not a tech person, so sometimes I forget the names. So we are really interested in getting them to view the different languages as something that's worthy of their time to learn. And we are currently in the process of developing the curriculum to have more than just JavaScript. So for that, we are relying a lot on the feedback and the support of the international mentors who have worked with those languages. So I think that is
And
apart from Gaza, apart from Gaza, are there any other social ventures that are doing this similar thing?
You mean apart from Gaza Sky Geeks in Gaza? Yes, there are other organizations. There is one called Gaza Sky Geeks. There's also the Islamic University in Gaza. They have an accelerator. We are the only one that brings together all those different programs and all those different people under one roof. But we do work with them. We are competitors in a sense, but we work together because the main goal is to help the people of Gaza achieve their full potential, not to compete. So yeah, there are.
Collaboration,
Yeah.
competition.
Exactly.
Sorry, I have a question at the back. Yes. Oh yes, of course you are.
Thank you so much for this great talk. I've never felt more closer to Gaza just sitting in time. Like I think it's such a great opportunity in a way for them. And now I was just wondering two things. Like you said, everybody speaks English, which is great for outsourcing some other things.
Mhm.
But and you speak great English. Like what are people's backgrounds like? Like what made you join Gaza Sky Geeks? What are these entrepreneurs or these students like where are they from?
Okay.
So just for the benefit of our live stream friends, hello. The question was, what kinds of backgrounds are the students and the participants of Gaza Sky Geeks coming from?
Yeah. So we have people with very different backgrounds, totally different programs. They could have graduated from any major. As I said, the level of education is really high, so we get all of the people who are part of it. They're either still students or they have their BA, their bachelor's degree, and many of them have master's degrees. Not just tech people. I am not a tech person. I was actually a graduate from English French teacher. Maybe this is why my English is good, but also mainly because I watch a lot of TV as a kid. But before joining Gaza Sky Geeks, I was working with an international organization, an Italian one, on women empowerment and community development projects. So I knew that my passion was to help others find the opportunities for them to improve and to empower women. I knew about Gaza Sky Geeks. I knew that they were doing a lot of good work in that front. And so this is how I joined them. My story is probably the most boring one in the team of how they joined Gaza Sky Geeks. They were just a job opening. I applied, I got a job. But for everyone else, it's something that they have been engaged with since very, very long. A lot of the core team members are people who have started with Gaza Sky Geeks, and it was just something like a very small program to decide that Mexico had opened. They were all on voluntary basis until we came this far. We have now a team of over 20 people, and so that's for the backgrounds. We have people who are graduated with English, with language degrees. We have people who have business degrees. We have people also with, of course, a lot of people with tech degrees. So yeah, and for English, because I have been to many countries and I've noticed that people in Gaza speak a lot more English than a lot of different places around the world. And I think the reason behind that is because being in this place, being under all of those, facing all those struggles, we have always aspired to get connected to the world because we felt that we're so behind. And this is why a lot of people really work so hard on improving their English because that's the global language right now, and that's what enables them to find the opportunities they could find, to create the connections that could help them move forward with whatever it is they are working on. So yeah, when you come to Gaza, a lot of the people, they either speak great English or they can manage, and so I think that.
My sister was working in West Bank and also worked in Iran, and everybody spoke minimum 3 languages, had a master's degree and like a PhD degree. I've never felt more dumb in my life. I'm also very honored. Thank you. Next question, Sergi. If you'd like to introduce yourself, sorry, and maybe say a little bit about your background.
Oh, sure. Yeah. Hi, I'm Yoshi. I'm from PwC. I think that's sustainability consultant. So you said you reserve 50% of your seats, your coding academy for women.
Right.
I think it's great, but have you tried holding classes that are 100% female only?
If we want to, we can, but we don't want the men to feel neglected. They do feel neglected a lot because we do a lot of special events for only women, and they were like, what about men inclusivity? For the West Bank, for example, we started our first cohort, and it is now over 50% women. So if we want to, we can do that, just to keep the balance.
Any other questions?
Hi, Sara.
Hi.
I'm actually called Sara too.
Oh, great. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. And I'm from Iran. So it was very interesting to hear. For the first time, I hear from a Palestinian the story. It's very great. I'm wondering, sorry, it's my poor knowledge about Gaza situation, but I was wondering that how is like IT industry in the local Gaza now, and then how much are you depending on international investors? Because I believe if you have more local investors, it's easier for you to just speed up the whole process and everyone has more opportunity.
Yeah.
But like, how much are you dependent outside, and then how are you overcoming this?
Yeah, that's a really great question. So for how much technology is present in Gaza, as I said, being under blockade, not being able to have a lot of, like, being away from all the different chances, we found out that internet is what we can depend on to overcome a lot of the challenges that we're going through. And this is why now in Gaza there is a lot of interest in tech. A lot of students go into the tech majors to the point where universities have to raise the key of admission, because we can't have everyone majoring in IT. So there's a really good level of IT education and IT skills in Gaza. The only difficult part is that we don't have a lot of senior developers in Gaza. That's like one of the main challenges that we face, especially for local businesses when they want to hire a developer from Gaza. It is really difficult for them to find a senior developer because all the senior developers that are in Gaza, which are not many, are already like employed for full-time jobs, and that they have their hands full with projects that they cannot really get more on. So that's one of the challenges that we're trying to overcome by giving more experience, more opportunities to our junior developers so they can get to a senior level. When it comes to the question of how dependent are we on international investment, so Gaza is not rich. We don't really have a lot of capital. But we are going through a lot of work right now doing advocacy, because we're trying to build a network of local investors, local angel investment, or local people who might want to, get their businesses invested, their money invested in local startups rather than just building more and more projects, businesses in the city or outside. It is not easy because, as I said, only adventurous investors would want to invest in a Gazan startup because only the word Gaza brings a lot of that. We are dependent fully right now. We don't have any of the investors working with our startups from Gaza, but we do have venture capitalists from the West Bank, still Palestinian. Most of the startups that we have started with seed investment from VC and Ramallah from Iptikar. So yeah, that's like my answer, I guess.
So mostly from outside of the country.
Yes, most of the investors are, but mainly they are from the Arab region. We have some investors from the UK, and we have gone through like a lot of talks with other investors in Europe. But again, it is very difficult to get them to actually do the investment proposal. We have like had our startups go through very serious talks with investors, and it was like the final step for them to actually secure that investment when like the investor would like consult with the lawyers, talk with all the people who know a lot more, and they would like back off at the very end because they are too scared of like taking that risk. What we're doing is that we are doing a lot of advocacy, letting people know that actually it's not scary to invest in a startup in Gaza because most of our startups are incorporated. Once they reach a good level, they are incorporated in Delaware using Stripe Atlas. That's like a great solution and option. You should know more about it if you don't. That along with Silicon Valley Bank, we managed to get a lot of our startups incorporated in Delaware. So this gave some kind of assurance to investors that their money is not going to be connected directly to a Gazan startup. So yeah,
Come to me about Delaware.
Yeah. Hey, hi. Yeah, thanks for the inspiring talk. I think it's really amazing.
Thank you.
Proof that entrepreneurship can be a real force of change, right? My name is Kiran. I'm a venture capitalist here in Ghana. I think one thing, the question that they often sort of comment is the investors maybe, as you mentioned, a bit scared to invest directly in a Gazan startup. But if you understand or people in your community understand the local system, right? If you people can come together and start fund or some sort of that, where other international investors can pool the money into Delaware or into wherever it is, and you invest on behalf of us in the local startups, right? So that could be kind of an interesting model in the sense that because you would know that, and individual investors would be much more welcoming to invest in people in general rather than individual startups, right? So that could be one way to like fund model could be one way. To
Yeah.
Maybe.
We actually have one of our mentors who have come earlier this year, and he is now working on a fund to create a pool of capital that can be invested into local startups that are incubated and accelerated within Gaza Sky Geeks. And now he's doing like a lot of advocacy around the world for that, so he can like secure a good amount of money and then start that fund and then hopefully continue working with that. I would love to talk more about it with you and connect you to my team members who are working on that part. We are open to any opportunities and any solutions that are available out there.
Hi, Sarah. So 50%, we aspire to get that kind of numbers. Can you share with us some tricks or things that we should try and do to get that? I mean, at least even 25%.
Yeah. As I said, we do a lot of work and a lot of activities to include women. The main thing that we do is that we get all the women, especially when we have a female international mentor coming in, and it would be great if it was a female techie, because we don't get a lot of that, unfortunately, in the world. So when they come in, we get together all the women from the different programs of Gaza Sky Geeks, and we have them share. So sharing, I think, is the most important part when it comes to women empowerment, because when they talk to other women who have been through similar experiences, maybe similar challenges, and they see that they have managed to overcome those challenges, they share that with them, they let them know the story, how they did it, then it empowers them to continue and move on and stand up to whatever challenge they have. So for us, for the Gazan women, the main obstacle is getting their families aboard to whatever they're doing, because to most families, is this worth it? You're leaving the home, you're leaving the house, you're spending a lot of time outside. We'd rather you stay in, we'd rather you get married, we'd rather you have kids instead of doing that. So as I said, a lot of our women go through that. A lot of them are still going through that. But when we come together, when we let them know that there's a safe space where they can talk and where they can share the experiences, then that gives them a push to keep on working, going forward. And what we do, as I said, we also try to include the families, the parents, or the husbands, or the brothers. We make sure that the Gaza Sky Geeks is an open space. Anyone can come in. And that is enough assurance for the families to believe that it's fine for their daughters or wives or sisters to be in the space. So that's one thing. I don't think that's like one of the challenges that you are facing, because that's like a different context. I think what would relate more to you is the fact that we create a safe environment for the women to speak to each other and support each other, because we believe that this support comes from within. Instead of us like bringing something from outside to help them out, they can help each other out because they know all the challenges they go through and all the struggles and how they overcame it and how they can help others do that.
So I think we have time for 2 more questions. If there's anyone with a burning question. If not, I think we have this space up until around 9 the next hour. So again, I'm so sorry, it's a free event. We're organized in 6 days. So we're not offering any refreshments, but there's a family mart just upstairs if you want to grab something and come back down. There's something to but it would be great if we could also take this opportunity to have a quick group photo, because it's kind of historic for us as well as both an international guest and also vice versa. So thank you for coming and making this possible, because again, 6 days, I was expecting maybe 5-10 people, mostly my friends, to be here. So to know that it's most people who have never been to a social innovation Japan event. Thank you again. So again, if anybody has any ideas or any questions about our organization, please come and speak to myself and Mariko at the back. Obviously, Connie's the person to go to about the chrysalis, and please come and throw all your maces over to Sarah. She's got hers ready to go as well. So maybe if you could give one quick round of applause again to Sarah. If you're okay to take a photo, if you'd rather not, that's totally fine. But I'm trying to figure out which